Hi, I'm Anoushka.
And I'm Haowei.
And we're the best of friends. Anyways.
Girl. Anyway.
Disclaimer. Any jokes, humor made in this video is only supposed to be for humor. I respect all of y'all and I love y'all anyways. And I hope y'all will like this podcast. We worked really hard on this.
We did. Please.
Yep.
Okay.
Anyways, let's get started.
Today we'll be discussing the Papal Conclave.
The paper conclave, you mean?
Papal
okay,
conclave. How it's important to me that you know that it's a papal conclave, not a paper conclave.
But don't they use paper?
They do, actually. But before we get into that paper bit, how about you tell me what you know about the conclave?
Because I already mentioned the paper bit.
Yes.
So I know that it happens in the Vatican.
Yes.
And it's basically like an large elderly men gathering, basically.
Close enough. It does happen in the Vatican, as you said.
Yeah.
A large group of Catholics do gather in St. Peter's Square, and inside, in the Sistine Chapel, all the eligible cardinals who can vote for Pope are locked in. So they can really only eat, sleep, pray. That's about it.
And what's
and
so important
vote.
that they have to lock in?
They have to nominate and pick a Pope, the leader
Right.
of the Catholic Church.
Oh, right. That's
Howie.
yeah, right.
Now, back to that paper bit. So basically, every round, they'll write the name of the person they want Pope, who they want as Pope, okay? Now, as they write the name, obviously, if one person were to get a 2/3 majority, they would be officially declared Pope. Now, let's say there's a round and no one gets selected. No one attains that 2/3 majority. They will burn those pieces of paper into a fire, and the smoke that comes out will alert the crowd, and it will be colored black, indicating that there has been no Pope. But if a Pope has been selected, they'll burn the paper of that round, and the smoke will turn up as white, as they put some special powder in there. Now,
Ooh, sounds like my Sunday afternoon. Anyways, let's keep going.
anyway, today we'll be discussing the candidates, and then at the end we'll be discussing who we wish will be Pope.
Only her.
Yeah, probably me. Anyway, you want to say the name of the first?
Okay, so if I recall from my wondrous memory, I think it's like Pietro Parolin or something.
Pietro Parolin. Anyway, Pietro Parolin is a centrist, meaning he isn't as conservative as most conservatives, but he isn't as liberal as most liberals. He's in the middle, hence centrist. Anyway, he is known to be a very good poker face. He has that. He's very no one can really read him.
Wait, so
but
can I invite him to my like local Sunday poker games little? Because everyone says it's my poker face that's like giving me off.
How you're a minor. Anyway, so Pietro Parolin, again, at a time of global upheaval, people might think of the poker face as something very vital, especially towards the Catholic Church, who is still trying to modernize in these very globalizing times. Now, what do you think of him?
Sounds like he could make me a profit.
You a prophet? You would like become
The best poker player on the world? Yeah, pretty much. Anyways, let's get started into the next one, shall we?
Yes, we shall. Now,
Alright,
you want to say the name?
This one's a bit long. I butchered this a little. More like a lot. Luis Antonio, what's the last name? Tigale?
Tagale. You're so close yet so far.
Close.
So far. Now, Luis Antonio Tagale, he's Filipino. If he were to win, he would become the first ever Asian Pope, which would be a huge deal, especially to the Philippines, as they do have a whole lot of Catholics. Now, he is very much like Francis in terms of ideology. He's liberal-leaning. He also does believe in migrant exception. He does the same amount of work Francis did. He is very much in social reform. One thing he does have a little different, though, from Francis is his blessing of same-sex unions, which might come into play. Now, he also was really good friends with Francis. He was known for his missionary work specifically, and he's also been nicknamed Asian Francis due to his, a lot of similarities to Francis. But, he's Asian, Francis is Argentinian, etc. Anyway, I'm rambling. Howie.
Yep.
Do tell me, what do you think about him?
I think I like him. You know, it's good to finally get some Asian representation in our community. Like,
Okay.
you know, Asians, you know, we have to be up there somewhere. You know, not
So
just
representation. That's what I'm hearing.
not just making blank threats
Okay.
of nuclear bombs. Anyways, happening what?
Okay. Fun fact about Tagalog: he has a nickname named Chito. Anyway.
Yo,
Now-
like the Cheeto dust.
Weirdly enough, similar like that. Anyway, now let's talk about the next person, Fridolin Ambango, but as Howie likes to say,
Frederick. Hey, his first name is a little bit too long or too complex. So why not make it similar and just say Frederick?
Quite accurate. Now, see, you almost got me saying Frederick. Now, Fridolin Ambango. He's 65, so he would be quite young if he were to be Pope. He's the Archbishop of Kinshasa, which is the capital of the Democratic Republic of Congo. And 18% of Africa, the continent, is Catholic. So if he were to become Pope, it would bring some stability to the region, especially with what's going on in the Congo currently and what happened in the past. Now, Francis had actually made him cardinal back in 2019. Francis had always urged for the Catholic Church to go to the peripheries, which is communities in Asia and Africa. Now, what do you think?
Not a bad pick, I guess. I mean, only 18% though. Like, Africa's pretty large. What is like 300 million population, 400, something like that?
No.
Yeah, 18% seems like a little compared to like Asia, you know? Asian superiority.
Okay, so now you know the next one's name? No? Okay.
Nope. Something you told me about like
it's my
Erdo.
turn. Yes, Peter Erdo. Now, Peter is very much conservative in every sense. He would most likely take us back to the times of John Paul II, who was Francis's predecessor. He has long been a conservative. He has basically spoken out against every single one of Francis's reforms. So he'd be an all-around opposite, but he would also fulfill the theory of fat pope, thin pope. So what fat pope is obviously a little overweight.
Body shaming?
It's a theory, an official theory by scientists, so please. Now, fat pope would be obviously a little plump and overweight pope, and this pope would be most likely more modernizing or more conservative. He would either lean on one side. Now, the next pope would be thin pope. They would have the completely opposite ideology as the pope before them. Now, as Francis fit the model of fat pope, Erdo would also fit the model of thin pope. Now, what do you think?
I don't even know what Francis looked like, but that's besides the point.
Francis was overweight, and he was more liberal. So, what do you think about...
I think that he sounds very interesting.
Interesting. Erdo? What do you say? Okay.
But I for a second, I thought that you said his last name was Erdo.
Erdo.
No, Erdo. In the Erdo.
Anyway, last but certainly not least, and this is also one of my favorite names, Pier Battista Pizzaballa.
Sounds like something I would order from my local Olive Garden.
Or deli, honestly. Both.
I like how you're agreeing with me.
You're not wrong. Anyway, but Pier Battista is mainly known for his work in the Middle East, which is one of the most dangerous regions of the world.
Very interesting.
A couple days after the Hamas attack on Israel, Pier Battista offered to give himself up as a hostage in order to free some children in Gaza, showing his humanitarian side of him. He's
a little sweet.
He would. He is Italian, so if he were to win the papacy, he would bring it back to Italy after 50-something years. Italy is mostly Catholic, so it would certainly help. Now, he is a new cardinal, only being made cardinal in 2023, and he's known as an outsider solely because of his time in the Middle East rather than the actual Vatican City. Now, Howie, what do you think of him?
I'm just glad that he isn't making any empty threats.
What do you mean?
Middle East. I think you know what I mean. Anyways.
God, help me now. Anyway, I personally want Luis Antonio Tagle. Again, Howie representation matters. I would totally enjoy that. And plus, I have a Catholic Filipina friend who would kill me if I were to support anyone else. What about you?
I don't have that problem. I don't really care. And I'm just purely here because she forced me here, and I'm just wanting to be here. Anyways, that's the end of our podcast today. We're finally done. And then I love y'all if y'all watch this to the end. If y'all don't,
oh my god,
that's good.
Okay, anyway, thank you, Miss Pride. I am so sorry.
I love y'all.